I like to think that what we're doing is we're trying right now to create a new form of travel, right? With a focus on meaningful experience through connection between you and the other people that you travel with.
Welcome to the Budget-Minded Traveler Podcast, your source for the tips and tactics that will inspire and equip you to travel the world. And the best part? It won't break your bank. And now, the Budget-Minded Traveler herself and your host, Jackie IRL.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 57 of the Budget-Minded Traveler podcast. This will be our last episode in a series of 4 with people who have started businesses from their travels, which was actually kickstarted with me. And if you listened to that episode, number 54, I think it was, then you know that we had a guest host on that day. Nathaniel Boyle from the Daily Travel Podcast actually came on the show at my request to interview me. And I promised you all that we would have him back on to turn the mic around and find out what his story is and how he got into podcasting and the other things that he has up his sleeve. So that's what we're doing today. But first, I have a few things to mention. First of all, I am coming to you from Thailand today, but by the time you listen to this, I'm actually going to be in Italy. I've been in Thailand for the last month. I was in Chile before that. I've been on the road for about 6 weeks now. By the time you listen to this, it'll be probably closer to 2 months. And I have been writing a lot, so check out thebudgetmindedtraveler.com and travelingjackie.com if you're interested in seeing what I've been up to. And also, if you are on Snapchat, I would love to connect with you there. You should follow me. My handle, whatever my name, my username there is Traveling Jackie, and it's the same on Instagram. And I wanted to encourage you guys to actually say hi. I know you're out there, and I love it when you speak up. So don't be afraid to leave a comment either on the blog or on Instagram or snap me back. I love to hear from you. And on that note, I actually wanted to give a shout out to people right now who have left some awesome reviews for the podcast. I've said this before and I will say it again. It means so much to me to hear from you guys when you have such positive feedback for me. And the last thing that I'm going to say before we get into the interview is you'll want to stick around for the end of this one because there is going to be a special announcement before this interview is over. And it includes quite an awesome opportunity for you, for all of us, actually. So on that note, let's go ahead and bring Nathaniel back on the show. We're so grateful to Osprey Packs for partnering with us and supporting the podcast, so please stay tuned for more about them later on. I have an opportunity for you to join me in real life for some real travel. Here's the latest Jump Adventures update. We are going to Greece for a bike and boat island hopping adventure this May 9th to 16th, 2025, and we still have space left. Check out jumpadventures.com to learn more and book now. We're going to have a yacht all to ourselves with ensuite cabins on board, so you get to sleep in the same bed every night as we start in Athens and make our way west toward the island of Corfu. You'll have your own bike for the week, e-bike if you want one, for cycling the islands as we go, in between meals crafted by our private chef on board, and all the relaxing you want to do on the top deck under the Mediterranean sun. These bike and boat adventures are our most carefree and relaxed trips. All you have to do is say yes and show up, and there's still space. Head over to jumpadventures.com to grab your spot now, and we'll see you there. So, Nathaniel, I'm happy to have you on all over again. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm great. It's a beautiful day here and out here on sunny Cape Cod. And yeah, life's good, Jackie.
Why do I sense that you're lying about sunny Cape Cod right now that it's November?
You know what? It's only sunny at this like exact moment. Up until now, it's been a really great day. And then I looked up as I said that, and there's this like beam of sun pouring in through the porch that's like right in front of my office here. And
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. It's not very sunny these days, and the cold is finally setting in. And ate a fire this morning, so it's that kind of it's that time of year.
Cool. All right, so we know where you are. You know what's funny about this this intro that I recorded that just came on before we started talking, I actually recorded in Thailand because we've already sat down once to try and make this interview happen and it didn't work.
It's not an uncommon thing for me to experience trying to record with people in Thailand only to find that their connection's not strong.
In Thailand specifically?
Thailand, Vietnam, India.
Yeah. Oh man.
Some islands, sometimes on sailboats. I've talked to a lot of people in a lot of different places, and yeah, internet around the world is certainly not a consistent thing.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't so great in Thailand. So this is like a tri-country interview episode because I started it in Thailand. Now I'm in Italy and you're in the States. So
yeah. And as much as I love my home, and actually, it's funny. It's like every time I go out and travel, and the longer I'm away from home, the more I appreciate being American, really, or being from the United States. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the fact that you're in Italy right now means that you win. You're winning.
I think this is my ultimate destination. So I agree with you on a personal preference level. But anyway,
I completely agree. I mean, Italy. One of the things that we've had a lot of time bonding over is this idea that this mutual love affair with Italy, right?
Yes.
Like the country, the food, the landscape, the hill towns, the cities, the art. There's the style, the fashion, the people. There's nothing that I don't like about Italy.
The stracciatella. Oh my gosh, it's my new addiction. So anyway, as much as I love Italy, we're here to talk about you. So, and this is the last interview in a series of talking about people who've started businesses out of travel. So that's kind of the direction that we're going to take with this interview. But first, we need to know who you are to figure out where you've been coming from with this. So why don't you kind of take it away with telling us a little bit about who you are and when you started traveling?
Wow. All right. I started traveling when I was...
loaded question, right?
It's a big one. It is. That's where I start all of my interviews. So I've had time to think about this. And I started traveling when I was 5. I turned 6 in a castle in England. My parents were getting divorced and my mother took us, my sister and I, along with some other family to the England. And we stayed in London for like let's say a week. And then we went up to the north into the Lake District and we had this castle. And it was just absolutely beautiful. Rolling green fields, crumbling stone walls, suits of armor, swords, capes, just like a wonderland for someone that was just forming a sort of relationship with reality. This idea that magical worlds really do exist for us to go out and to explore was sort of planted in my head, I think, at that time. Because to me, castles and capes and swords and being able to sit on cannons and the ruins of other castles was like, wait a minute, this is real? You can go out and you can do this and you can experience these things, and this feeling of being immersed in an environment of like wonder. To me, I think it was playful at the time, and we all try to get back to this sort of childlike state of wonder. But as I got older, I think I became addicted to that. I became hooked on finding that feeling again. And so for me, a lot of the work that I do now is an attempt to recapture that and to help other people do the same in both their life, their travels, and their work.
I think it's so cool that you got to do that at such a young age because, I mean, we only have memories back to, I don't know, usually I think 4 is probably when people start to have their first memories. You just don't remember stuff before that. And so these are some of your earliest memories. Am I right about that?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I remember, it's funny because I don't remember a lot of it. Like my childhood, I just don't have a particularly great memory for. But I remember sort of fragments of feeling about being in this place, about, the almost like what it felt like to be there, as opposed to distinct memories of saying this or doing this. I kind of remember picking out my birthday cake at this little bakery, and I picked out this Black Forest cake, and I was really excited because I was like chocolate cake, yes, and then it was Black Forest cake, which has raspberry in it.
Oh, and no.
Nowadays, I'm okay with it, but as a kid, I was like, this is not okay.
No way. That would not have been okay with me either.
So and I remember being very small and standing in this kitchen that had this old wooden table and these pots, like brass pots and pans. And this is within this castle that we're staying in. So I remember sort of these fleeting fragments of feeling, as opposed to actually maybe what we classify as being full-fledged memories.
So
but I think that travel affords us the opportunity to find these like these tiny pulses of life that like imbue us with a memory that will, or at least a feeling that we'll never forget, right? It's like this idea that we encounter something that we've never encountered. And so all of a sudden the aperture of the mind widens so that we can take in more information. And then that attention is the mother of memory. And that's where, sort of unforgettable experiences are born.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Nicely said.
That was fun.
So, wow. I mean, I may be in Italy right now and I may be winning for the moment, but dude, your first travel memory was in a castle when you were 5, and you definitely win for that one.
I was really lucky. I mean, I don't say I was. The circumstances of the trip was that my parents split, and it was sort of my mother using travel as a way to pull herself out of the sort of routine trap that I think that we all get into, which is whether or not we like it or not. Some people are averse to routine. Some people rely on it. But sometimes things get gummed up and we need to get ourselves unstuck. And I think taking a trip, for a couple weeks and just putting yourself in a new environment, surrounding yourself with the unexpected is the perfect way to sort of reset the narrative of your life so that when you go back home, you can say, I am not the person that I was before I left. I can't go back to being that person. I get to start again. And I don't know, for some people, it's springboard off of what you were doing. For other people, it's rebuilding. And for some people, it's less dramatic. It's just invigorating.
I cannot agree more. I love it. I mean, I'm kind of doing that myself right now, so I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. I mean, I think it's a really smart move to look at travel as more than just an escape, more than just an opportunity to relax, but as an opportunity to finally go and do the thing that you're desiring to do in your life, right? Make that change.
Absolutely.
It's like travel is more than just maybe what you're thinking of it. It's actually like a device or a tool that you can use to begin the first step towards becoming the sort of that real you. I mean, I said we like to go back and tap into childlike wonder and stuff, but like maybe there was this sense of who you were supposed to become that you might have let go of, and you want to sort of I'm always really interested in the idea of bridging this idea between like what I once imagined that I would be versus who I am now, and using travel as sort of a way to go out and explore myself to better understand exactly why I am the person that I am now, and and rebuild. I don't know if it's confidence or reinforce the direction that I'm going, or even just make a pivot. To me, it's like wide open. It's just the key to unlocking that thing that you desire to do within yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We could have an entire interview, like conversation just about this, because you are hitting the nail on the head right now. It's awesome.
Good. I love to hear that. Oh, yeah, I'd like to hear that because what you're up to, Jackie, is very interesting to me. I think your travels are very interesting, and it's fun for me to sort of take note of people in your position that need travel in this way, that look at travel as more than just like an opportunity to see the world, but it's an opportunity to not just explore yourself, but to make that change and to start doing that thing that you know that you should be doing, but aren't yet.
Right. Which apparently your mother understood when you were 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did. My mother's an artist, right? So I think
so is mine.
Abstract. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've had this talk. It's just really funny. My mother's an abstract expressionist, so she's very sort of that parallels her thought process. I think in general is that she can be very flighty. She's also very outside of the box, and so it was like, I mean, I was at the time I was old enough to go. My sister's a couple years younger than me. She doesn't remember the trip as well, but she was finally old enough, I think, for my mother to say, you know what, the thing that I'm not doing, the thing that's not in my life, is travel. And I don't know what their relationship had to do with it, but my father doesn't travel as much as my mother does these days, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Well, people are different, I mean, people need different things, so I mean, it could be as simple as that, but
yeah, it likely is.
So you got introduced at a very young age, which I think I'm jealous of that, honestly. Like I wish that I could have had that taste when I was that young, because it turned out to be such a huge fascination and love in my life, but I had to basically explore it for myself, So having seen, I mean, you had seen, wondrous foreign lands when you were 5 years old. When did that become something that became, I guess, more regular in your life to where you maybe towards adulthood could choose to do it on your own and kind of turn it into something that you didn't want to set aside?
Sure. So I've interviewed Jackie, I've interviewed over 200 plus people on the Daily Travel podcast. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that's really interesting is for me, travel and identity have always been inextricably linked, but that's not true for everyone. And one thing that I've noticed is that the people that got started traveling earlier are more versed in speaking about travel as this philosophical concept or as this thing that helps them to explore their own identity. You know what I mean? It's like it's because they sort of just have this relationship with travel as being more than something that you get to do when you're, 18 or an adult or later, or you're curious about. It's more like I continuously need to go out and explore because I'm answering questions about myself, and what's more important than that in this one opportunity that we have to get to know ourselves. So, I think for me, those questions were sort of rattling around in my head as I got older. And I think when I was, well, I can jump ahead. I mean, I traveled here and there as a kid with my family and stuff. Lots of islands, lots of kind of convenient stuff. And then
so different from my childhood. lots of islands would never be included.
Funny. Yeah, it's really funny. Anyways, in college, I really wanted to study abroad, and I looked into it, and I was thinking of going to Australia. I was thinking of going to New Zealand. Nothing really came together, and for whatever reason, I studied in Los Angeles. That ended up being as a film student, that seemed really relevant.
Ooh, that's studying abroad too, isn't it?
LA. It totally was. I mean, culturally, LA, as a guy from Boston, it is not the same, not even close.
I mean, I'm from Northern California, and it's not the same. It's not even close, so I get that.
Yeah. So I had this real burning desire to travel and to experience travel in a deeper way that I was hoping I would do when I was a student, but it didn't materialize. And then when I graduated school, I had the opportunity to either this is right out of college. I had the opportunity to go and take that gap year, which I honestly think everyone should do if you're even thinking about it. Just really look further into it, but plan to go. Anyways,
amen.
I did not take that. I did not take that opportunity, and instead I took a job at a startup in Boston because the money and the opportunity and the chance to if the startup took off, I would have been number 5 employee there, which is a good opportunity to get in. It didn't. It failed when the economy tanked. And what it did do for me, even though I do kind of regret taking this job, what it did do for me is it allowed me to save up enough to take a year off and go around the world.
That's important.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, I couldn't have just gone out of college in the same way that I did. And so I was able to go bigger because, I wanted to take the Trans-Siberian Railway, and I wanted to live in New Zealand, and I wanted to go around the world. I didn't want to just go to Southeast Asia and do a few countries. I wanted to circumnavigate the planet and say that I've done that, because just growing up, I was this sort of tiny speck on this planet, and this idea that you could actually go around the whole thing. And I'm not talking about on foot or anything complicated, right? I've talked to people that have sailed around the world, and that blows my mind. I'm perfectly okay as a beginner traveler at that time, jumping on an airplane and flying around the world and saying, I've done it, because it's a means. And you know what? I did it. And I took the Trans-Siberian, which was 3 weeks from Beijing through Mongolia, across Siberia to Moscow and St. Petersburg. Absolutely life-changing. And so for me, that was my opportunity to not only, I think, did I embrace that opportunity to explore myself through the world, but to also become highly curious about the world, right? And about other people. And I think that I broke the shell of maybe being a shy person. I wasn't super shy, but you come out of your shell just in general. Yeah. There's always another shell to shed. And I
love that.
And
so true.
And eating new foods, challenging myself, jumping out of airplanes, doing things that I didn't think I was possible, I was capable of doing, and now wondering if I've done some of these things, what can I not do? And really looking at the world in a different way, in a much more curious way. And when you look at the world that way, you begin to look at myself that way.
Yeah. You're so inspiring. Oh, this makes me... I
wanted to get into recording podcasts and talking to people about this because I do care a lot about this. Mm-hmm. And yet recording, 200 plus interviews in the course of a year really gave me the opportunity to practice talking about these things in a way that does inspire. That's my goal, Jackie. Like yours is the same. It's to inspire people to go out and travel. I've just been like deliberately practicing every time I hit record to speak that message, like right there, because I would love to be the voice for why the emotional value of travel, right?
I think you are. I mean, it's working. So congratulations. Good job. We'll come right back to that. Let's take a moment now to thank our wonderful show sponsors. Osprey is the market leader in technical outdoor, travel, and everyday packs. And I've personally used Osprey packs since 2015. My favorites are the Fairview Trek 50 for multi-day hikes, the Cirrus 24 for day hikes, the Transporter Rolling Duffel 60, which is my trusty check luggage for faraway adventures, and of course, the countless packing cubes I use to organize everything that goes in them. We are proud to support each other on the podcast and beyond. We love getting outside, and we want to see more people outdoors. So find out more and join us at osprey.com. And speaking of that, I'm really curious about... So you came back from a round-the-world trip. How old were you when that happened?
I was right out of college, so I was about 20...
So early 20s?
Sorry. I took the job for a couple of years. Mid-20s.
Mid-20s. Okay. So
let's pretend I was 25 because I'm not doing math in my head at the moment.
I don't blame you. I never do math in my head. So let's see. When then did you first have the notion that you could create an income with something based off of travel? Like, where did the idea come from to start your podcast? Or was that the first idea, or was there something else?
Yeah, good question. So this again, let me jump back to when I was a kid. I never had, not only did I have divorced parents, which is one thing, but I had, my father was an entrepreneur, right? So he went from kind of company to company, business idea to business idea. My mother's a painter, right? So like I never had any semblance of routine growing up except for get up and go to school, right? Like aside from that, watching my parents, there was no model of like how you're supposed to go about living your life. And I've always thought maybe abstractly like my mother, and my father is also one of the more creative people I know because just his solutions are maybe more logic based. And he's the smartest person I know is my father. And so it's been really, it's been this sort of calling of mine, I think, to find my own work, right? And to do work that I love. I think that's kind of what I've needed to do, because out of college, I took that job and I was miserable. Like I really hated it. And when I got back from my trip around the world, I knew that I couldn't not continue traveling, and I needed to make that a regular part of my life. I needed to figure out how to do that. And so the first thing I did was I picked up web design skills, right? Because I needed some sort of, you did this too.
I know.
This is
You're like telling my story.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
But like I wanted to pack my parachute and make sure that no matter what, I could go and work from anywhere at any point. Unfortunately, after I picked up web design, I took a job for a couple of years, which taught me more than I could ever have learned on my own. Like I learned from people who were brilliant at web design. I wasn't happy with only having, actually I had, which this is great for an American, but I had 4 weeks off. So, that wasn't enough for me, right? Like that's still less than a lot of other countries. And anyways, we don't need to get into comparing vacation times, but I wasn't satisfied by the work that I was doing. And I think it's really important that if the work or the paycheck isn't paying the emotional bills, you need to reassess the work that you're doing and the way that you're investing your time.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I knew that travel was still that thing, right? Like I had never actually come back from that trip entirely. I still had one foot us to see. And so it was like, how do I fix this? So I started looking at business ideas, and I threw multiple, and I actually locked in on one, grew it up. It was, I could tell you, it was basically like a subscription box company, which ended up, that was the idea, and then it ended up being like a gift box thing. But what I was doing was sourcing artisanal products and like food or mostly food, but whatever, artisanal, locally sourced, handmade products, and putting them in a box. And I ended up growing this business. This is me like flailing and trying to figure out like how to grow a business, how to do something. For me, I wanted to go to different places and like get to, because I love going to markets when I travel. So I thought like, what if I just go to a market and I pick out all my favorite things and I put that all together? Anyways, turns out you deal with inventory, you deal with expiring products, you deal with packaging and shipping. I hate all of these things. So I ended up growing this business and I had like 4 recurring clients paying me, thousands of dollars each. This thing was happening. And I got through a Christmas season, which was an absolute nightmare of orders. And I got all the boxes out, and I immediately closed it down, because one of the things I learned was that there's 2 types of work. I think and this is really important. There's work that relieves you, and this was the work that relieved me, right? I was putting stuff in a box, putting it in the mail, and sending it out, and I was like, whew, thank God that's done, right? And then there's work that recharges you, right? And I started recording this podcast because this podcast in travel, because I noticed that nobody was really doing it. You and I launched our shows like within the same month, and there were maybe 2 or 3 other active shows that weren't about Disney World on iTunes. And so I was like, a lot of people have said, a lot of people were like, you should start a travel blog. And I was like, there are so many travel blogs that I don't want to be another fish in that extremely deep sea. I would rather do something that nobody else is doing. And so I realized that very few people are podcasting about travel, and nobody is doing it every day. So let me be the first and only.
No one else is crazy.
It's an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity to be the only person, to know I was the only person in the world doing that.
I know. You're just a hard worker.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work. I mean, I recorded 40 interviews before I even launched the show. I solved all sorts of problems. But you know what? Like, this isn't something that would pay the bills. But what this did do is that this is the work that recharged me. So again, there's work that relieves you. There's work that recharges me. I would stop recording on a podcast, and I would like explode out of the room, right? Like I would be like, oh my God, that was the most amazing, mind-blowing conversation. I can't wait to do that again. And I really felt like I was onto something. Like I felt like this is the direction I can go, because the more I do it, the better I get. And I think as a creative person, that's the impulse that we need to chase. Like if you're getting better doing the work that is recharging you, then keep going, because that might be your bliss.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so you hit on
something though that I wanted to ask you about. Because you just said that. You said something along the lines of it's not going to be a moneymaker for you, but it was your recharge. It was your emotional. It was paying your emotional bills. Whatever. So how did you see a future for this? So where did you want it to go? And how? I mean, because you can't. Well, I mean, I know all too well about making money as a podcaster. It doesn't really happen. But what was your idea behind it? Because you didn't have a blog to, try to leverage exposure. Like I'm not sure what it was other than emotionally. And did you keep your web design job through this? Like how were you making money?
Yeah. All right. So I continued to freelance web design, which I'd been doing for a few years before. I had some regular clients. I had some, I don't want to say stable or steady income. You know what I mean? It's not that. I had to still continue to hustle and find clients for my web design business. And that was what was paying the bill. So the travel stuff did not and continues to today struggle to pay the bills, because it's a startup. I mean, I'm 1 year into a startup. Startups take a while to turn true, actual, consistent revenue. And so that's kind of where my head is in this. Notice how, though, you had said, like, how do you figure out the income? I think I just want to lay out the reason why I answered the way I did before is because I think it was really important for me to not, I'd already made the mistake of chasing the money right out of college instead of going on that trip, right? And I regretted it. And so there I was, I caught myself again doing work that I hated so that I could, find freedom, whatever that was. I was not finding freedom. I was finding misery, and I was not going to travel because I had, to complete orders and I had to serve clients, and I saw myself building a business that could be successful, but it was the wrong business and I was constructing the wrong life. And so I knew that I needed to back out and reset and chase the thing that felt right, that solved the emotional problem first. Like I needed to truly love the work that I was doing. And that was a tough road to go down. There were a lot of like sleepless nights, and there still are, but those were the worst sleepless nights when you feel like you're wasting your time doing the wrong thing. That's the worst feeling. And so for me, it was like, all right, travel is this thing that has always been there for me. It's always helped me figure things out. And so I took a trip, actually I got a mistake fare, $175 round trip flight to Milan from New York. And I took a couple trains up to Zermatt, Switzerland, and I hung out underneath the Matterhorn in the dead of winter, and I designed this podcast. I loved doing it, and I laid down all of the ideas of this like big dream vision, not just for the show, because you can hope that a show takes off and you get 100,000 downloads or 1 million downloads, and all of a sudden you got sponsorship and you're taken care of, right? That is so anomalous. That's like 0.001% of all podcasts actually experience that. So
we do it because we love it.
We do it because we love it. Yeah, exactly. And also we hope that people will listen to the things that we have to say and it will resonate with them, because we're trying to build businesses for ourselves that help people in their lives, that help people through travel. It's either to help people get out there and see the world, or it's help people like make that change in their life. And for me, I really wanted to chase that deep thing. I got into the podcast. I started recording it. I started exploring people's stories, and I knew that I wanted to create some form of community. Like, it's really hard, I think, when we're podcasting, because if you're listening to me talk right now, like some of this might be resonating with you, but you can't just pick up, your phone and use the podcasting app to leave a comment, right? Like you have to either go to Jackie's blog, or you have to find me on Twitter, on Instagram, or something like that, and reach out and tell me that. And there's like 3 or 4 steps in there that most people don't do. So I knew that I wanted to use this as a way to sort of inspire and maybe capture the attention of people for whom my work could help. Enough that maybe they'll come over to my website and they'll check that out, right? So for me, I wanted to build a community, and I knew that like building the framework for a community, an online community, like a membership site, would be the best way, I think, to engage with a customer or a group of people who are not just want to be a part of a community, but actually are like buying into it for solutions, right? Because then I can directly address those solutions, and I can use the group as sort of a collective hive mind to help each other out. And so that's really was the initial idea for, I'll start a podcast, I'll grow an audience, and then hopefully they will be interested in joining a community of people that all want to see the world, make a change in their lives, explore themselves, etc.
And please do go on, because I feel like we're getting warmer to something.
Yeah.
So please explain. Yeah.
So as I kept going and exploring the stories of people through my podcast, it eventually turned into this thing where I began to recognize the value of 2 things. 1, connecting with other people and how amazing that can be for you. Like, if it's not just people who are doing the things that you maybe want to be doing, and you can be inspired by those people, but also to connect with the people who desire to do the things that you want to do, because it can be a support structure for each other. It's the same idea that you go out and you travel. If you're solo traveling, or you have a moment to yourself to wander through the streets of some forgotten town somewhere, and you feel this sense of solitude, you could be anyone in that moment. There's all these different identities and roles for us waiting to be played, waiting to be explored out there in the world. You could be anyone. And so it's that same sort of thing. It's like you have your own definition for yourself back home that sometimes can hold us back from making that change, making that progress. And so we need people that don't know who we have been. They only see us for who we might become. the potential that's in all of us, I think, to to create something amazing. And I think it's really important to connect with people like that. And so as I began to explore the stories of my guests, I began to connect with them on a personal level. I began to become inspired by them, and we began to sort of help each other, because I think they too liked what I brought to the table and felt like, wow, what are you working on? So all of a sudden it's like, there's this value of stories, this value of travel, this value of connection and people. And so for me, it was like, I'm beginning to understand this world that we live in through the work that I'm doing, through this exploration of not just going out into it, but going into myself and exploring myself through all of these connections. And that's where the idea for my business really took hold. I was like, there's something really cool here. I don't know. My mother's an artist. I went to film school. I kind of have an art side to me. So I kind of I feel like life is one big art project, like super high risk art project.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to create something that was like a catch-all for all of my crazy, wild, either entrepreneurial or artistic ideas. So I created what I'm calling today Holocene. Holocene is I came up with the name because it's the epoch under which we all live in, right? It's the last 10,000 years from the Ice Age to today. But it's kind of hard to relate to that. It's like what does it mean to be living in an epoch? It's this sort of unknowable thing that we're all a part of. And so I don't know if you see the parallel, but it's this idea that we like to pretend like we understand everything, but we sort of also struggle to sort of understand our place in this like vast world. So for me, I really want to explore the world one story at a time together with a community. And that's what Holocene is. And it's grown a little bit more and we can dive deeper into it, but that's really the heart of it. It's this community of people who are united around the transformational power of travel and storytelling.
And okay, this is awesome. So this is brand new, right?
It's like, as I say this, we are in the process of like rolling out different features and stuff, right?
Okay.
So like the website has gone from a coming soon page to like a join the community page, pretty much. But we've got, the podcast is going to support it. We're going to have an amazing blog channel exploring transformational storytelling in travel. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so where can people find this?
If you go over to holocene.io, everything's right there.
And
there'll be a big button there on that homepage.
And who are you looking for? Like how, who is your target, I guess? Like if there are listeners out there right now, what will they need to hear, or what do they want to hear about Holocene that would interest them, you know?
If there's something in your life that you know or you believe that you want to be doing, but you're not yet, whether that's travel, whether that's writing that novel, whether that's starting that business or finding location independence or finding the love of your life, whatever that thing is, like
you can help with that.
Whatever. Travel can help with that, right? Like going out and exploring the world and connecting with other people, like-minded people to help you find yourself. I think that's really what this community is built around. So again, if there's some change that you want to make in your life, then and you think travel could help you get there, that's the person that I'm looking for. The person who's sensitive to this idea of the emotional value of travel and its transformational capabilities.
That's so great. I think it's great. And if someone joins, what are the kind of benefits? What are they getting?
Good question. So we're still building up the benefits, and if you join, you're going to get them. So for example, we're looking at a lot of different like value adds, like membership to sites, free apps that would normally cost money, that sort of thing. I can't I can't describe exactly what those are yet, but they're going to be rolled out, and that should make it even more enticing. What you are getting right out of the gates, though, is access to the community, access to me, conversations and webinars about travel that you sort of feel safer or feel more empowered to go out. And then what we've built into the platform is this is my favorite part, really. Basically it's just like an alert service for really discounted airfare. So this is particularly good for you, Jackie. So like, let's say you're living in Europe right now and you're in Italy now and thinking about Germany next, and then you don't quite know, there might be a gap of time in there, and then all of a sudden your phone is like, hey, there are flights right now, or there are flights on sale in a month from now going from Munich to let's say Morocco, and it's like 150 euros or something like that, and you're like, sweet, that's not going to be any cheaper than that, I might as well go to Morocco. You can kind of impulsively make this purchase. You don't have to be a nomad like you. This is just aggregates all of the cheap airfare deals across the web, especially all of the mistake fares that you don't want to miss out on. This will send you a text message as soon as they're known, and then you can go and snap it up and fly to, if you want, Milan from New York for $175.
Yeah.
To me, that's how I travel. I've kind of regained control of my time. And then I look for the bargain basement deals, and that saves me like thousands of dollars.
Didn't you go to Oman too this year?
I did. I flew $178, I think, round trip Boston to Abu Dhabi, and then I rented a car from there, drove up to Dubai, stayed in Dubai for a couple of days, and then I drove up to the exclave of Oman, which is there's a little town, Kasab, which is up in the fjords of Oman. They call it the Norway of the Middle East because fjords are not something you think of when you're thinking of the
not
sort
so
of
much.
desert Middle East, right? But it's so cool, and it's just like a waterway between you and Iran. There's that was a really cool place. Oman is a really great way to go and see the Arab world or the Arabian Peninsula without without maybe any of the politics that are sort of polluting the desire to go to a lot of these places. It's a beautiful country. It really is.
Awesome. And
that was because sorry to interrupt you,
no,
but that
okay.
flight was because I remember I woke up Christmas morning and I had a text message. I woke up to a text message on my phone that said $175 mistake fare, New York to Oman. And I bought that before I got out of bed. I bought it on Orbitz, which gives you 24 hours to decide whether or not to confirm it. So I bought the ticket, went downstairs, opened presents, and then spent the rest of the day being like, do I want to go to Abu Dhabi?
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Did you say that was Christmas?
That was Christmas morning.
Christmas morning. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
yes, it is
ago.
Christmas. Jeez, that's amazing. A happy Christmas. Here's a ridiculously cheap flight to the Middle East.
Exactly.
Nice.
I called a few people. I was like, do you want to go? No. Do you want to go? No. Do you want to go? I'm gone. And then I was like, I'm buying one for myself.
You should have called me.
I don't know if I barely knew you, I think, at that point.
Probably. Yeah. Well, cool. Okay. So the flight alerts is a big deal. Chat platforms, access to expert travelers, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, that's kind of what we're doing, and we're going to continue to add more value to make it more of a no-brainer for anybody that wants to save. I think it's like $10 a month or something. I should know my pricing.
I was like, didn't you set it?
But the idea is to save you, if you want to travel, is to save you thousands of dollars. So my goal is over the next year is to just pump this thing so full of value that
Love it.
It becomes a no-brainer.
Love it. All right. So that's Holocene, and we can go to holocene.io. Holocene, HOLOCENE.io for anybody who is not certain about that. There is one more thing that we need to talk about, though.
Yes.
And this is getting the drum roll. And I already told them at the beginning that there's going to be a big announcement at the end of this episode. So now we get to reward the people who have listened to us talk for 40 minutes.
If you're still on here. Yeah, exactly.
So why don't you go ahead?
Well, I think, Jackie, one of the things that we come together on is this sort of respect for the emotional value of travel, right? Mm-hmm. And you have a real zeal for adventure travel. Like you love adventure. You love the style of group travel in particular. And for me, I have been I spent the past year working with people on trips in particular settings to experiment in ways to better connect to them. And we've experienced this sort of together, this way that you can sit down with people and you can accelerate the process of making a connection between people. It's through conversation, it's questions, it's through exercises and stuff. Anyways, my point in saying all of this is that I have for a while now believed that there was a way to build meaningful experience and connection into the travel process for anybody that like wants to go out and make a change in their life. Why not meet people who see that potential in you within an environment of adventure travel? Like, to me, this is like, I think meaningful experience is something that a lot of younger travelers these days want. And this is, I think, a really great opportunity to take travel and connect people, because the best stories, and I say this all the time, come from the people we meet and the ways in which we help each other find our way. So I want to do a lot more of that in travel. So now that I've sort of amorphously or nebulously described what we're talking about, you want to take it from there?
Yeah. So, I mean, enter me. So I don't even know when you first told me about Holocene. I love the idea of Holocene, and I think that there's a lot of potential behind it. And essentially, I sort of showed up and said, hey, I have this idea. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. Why don't we join forces? And so what I've been wanting to do is travel with people. I have been for many years kind of building a network of people who have asked me, you know, are you ever going to take, you know, people on trips? And it's always been something in the back of my head. And I saw Holocene as the perfect platform to make this happen. And so kind of jumped on board.
Back and forth, but yeah.
Jumped on board with your idea and said, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? So Nathaniel and I are actually launching a new way to travel in groups to these amazing places, to have these meaningful experiences. And we're calling it Holocene Immersions. I didn't do the drum roll. So we could do the drum roll on the back end.
We just add a drum roll sound.
Yeah, drum roll after.
Yeah, I think that I like to think that what we're doing is we're trying right now to create a new form of travel, right? With a focus on meaningful experience through connection between you and the other people that you travel with, right? So maybe that's people that you're coming with, or maybe you're coming solo, and we're going to bring 8 to 10 people to a place of, you know, awe, like to put you in a landscape that's vast and adventurous, and to do things together that challenge you a little bit. You know, we're not talking about like necessarily jumping out of airplanes or doing anything.
We're doing like the trust falls or anything. not like that.
Yeah. We're not. It's nothing weird like that. It's also not anything that's limiting. Like, if you're listening to this, you can do these things. I truly believe that. Absolutely. And so what we're doing are we're putting together these group trips in partnership with amazing places, and we're gonna start to take 8 to 10 people on these trips to help them connect. See what we can pull out of that.
And we're aiming to actually have our first trip sooner than later. We're about to announce it, so if you are interested in staying informed, head over to holoceneimmersions.com. And you can sign up your email address there, and then you'll be the first to hear when our first trip is ready to go.
Fun. All right. So again, that's holoceneimmersions.com. HOLOCENE immersions.com. That will be, this is like a really exciting branch of Holocene for me, because it's the actual travel bit, which is really cool.
I know.
And it's something that we've, that I think a lot of people in the travel media space would love to play with, and this is a sort of natural partnership, I think. So for me, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I are going to be on these trips, especially at the beginning. And so this is the opportunity for people to come travel with us and experience these things with us if you want to, if you're listening and you have interest in that. And we're picking some really incredible destinations. So get your email address in there so you can stay informed.
Oh, I love it.
All right. So that was our big news. I'm excited. It's out there. We did it.
It's out there. Yeah. It's a little intimidating putting new ideas out there in the world.
It is, but I think it's going to be amazing. I really do. I know that it will. So, well, cool. What is there anything else that you wanted to add about you and Holocene and the podcast?
No, I guess I'll just wrap up by saying that if anybody is interested in what we've been talking about today, or if any of this resonates with you, if you're looking for this style of travel or this experience in your life, then come on over to Holocene, check it out, holocene.io. And I would, just reach out to me. I'm at Nathaniel on Twitter. I'm at Nathaniel Boyle on Instagram. Reach out to me, find me, just say hi. I'd love to hear from you because I'm trying to help. If this resonates with you, you're exactly the kind of person I want to chat with.
Awesome. Thank you again, Nathaniel, for joining us twice now. It's been great to have you. We should probably do this again sometime.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. This is a good time. And anytime you need me to come back on here and awesome. Just chat travel.
Great. And you guys, as always, you can find the show notes for this episode at thebudgetmindedtraveler.com/57. And be sure to check out Nathaniel's podcast, dailytravelpodcast.com, if you haven't yet. And head on over to holocene.io or holoceneimmersions.com if you are more interested in that. And come travel with us. And we'll be stoked to have you. So that's it for today. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we'll see you next time.